Salutations, my dearest friends. My name is Samantha, and today I'm going to be recommending some romance books that have the childhood friends to lovers trope. Hello, how are you? Welcome back to my channel, and welcome back to Trope Week. If you don't know what Trope Week is, it is a series I do here on my channel where every single day for an entire week I pick one specific romance book trope and give you a bunch of recommendations. I do have a playlist on my channel with like 50 plus videos because I've done a bunch of other tropes this week and the other times I've done this series, so I'll leave that playlist down below if you want to check it out. But today we're going to be talking about friends to lovers, which is one of my favorite tropes of all time. I feel like it's a little bit underrated. I've always been a huge fan of the friends to lovers trope. I just think there's something so sweet and incredibly romantic about that trope because they're already friends, they already trust each other, they already have so much history, and then you're just like adding that spice and that romance. Beautiful. I love it. Unmatched. One of my favorite tropes ever. I know I've done videos of friends to lovers before, so in this one I just tried to be a little bit more specific where it's childhood friends to lovers. And still, I have like 20 books to recommend to you, so we're just gonna hop right in. Okay, so the first few books are by my favorite author ever, and that is Marina Vivancos. I talk about her so much on my channel, but she really is literally my top favorite author, hands down. I feel like she's so underrated. An author that writes on Kindle Unlimited. She writes some full-length novels, some novellas. Her books are really amazing in a diversity of like different cultures, as well as amazing representation for like the queer community. I love her books so freaking much. Highly recommend every single one. And Marina Vivancos really loves the friends to lovers trope, so she has a couple, so I'm just gonna talk about some of my favorites. First one is called In This Iron Ground, and this is the first book in her natural magic duology, but you can read it as a standalone. This is a paranormal male-male romance. All of her books are sweepingly romantic, but they can also be deeply emotional, so make sure to check the trigger warnings. In this one, it does have a couple of different trigger warnings because our hero Damien has been through a lot. His parents died at a very young age and he was put into the foster system, and he's kind of bouncing house to house and has not had the best luck with his foster parents. One of the houses that he gets stuck in, he's in a pretty abusive situation, so he ends up running to the forest to like find solace, and as he's doing that he encounters a pack of werewolves and they immediately like take him in. This has a huge found family trope. He has a really special connection with pretty much everyone in the family. Really beautiful to see him create those bonds and see like what true love and friendship and family means. This book is a romance, but the core of it is really Damien's journey of loving himself and healing, and it's so, oh my god, it's so beautiful. Anyways, he becomes best friend with one of the older brothers. His name is Hakan, and they grow up together. Hakan is a little bit older, so it really starts off as a friends to lovers romance that naturally develops into an actual romance. Beautiful, stunning, like friends to lovers, found family, and two mutually possessive heroes, then you're absolutely gonna love this one. The next book that Marina Vivancos writes that has this childhood friends to lovers trope is Sicken of the Calm. This is the first book in her Fox Lake series. Here Joaquin is bisexual, and when he goes to college, this is like the first time that he is openly out. He came from a very small like conservative town, so he was never publicly out when he was in high school. This is his time to truly be himself, and he goes to one of his classes and sees someone that he went to high school with named Ezra. Ezra and Joaquin went to high school together, and Joaquin always had a crush on Ezra, but again, he was never openly out, and Ezra was like his first crush and the man that he thought he could never be with. Now that they're in college together, they get paired together to do a project, and it follows their friends to lovers romance. This also has some light BDSM elements to it. Both of our characters are in this space of exploring like what they like, so they decide to do that together because they really create this safe space in their friendship. Gorgeous, stunning, beautiful. I absolutely loved it. Then in the same series, there is the second book called Nights Without Nights. This one again is another male-male romance. It follows Isidro and Ivan, who grew up together when they were children. Grew up together, they're best friends. They used to do absolutely everything together until Isidro ends up deciding to join the military and is gone for many years because he is a part of like a special operations unit. After 8 years of Isidro being in the military and them only seeing each other when he's on leave, he decides to leave the military and try to start a new life. He is struggling a lot with his mental health, so he ends up moving in with our other hero Ivan, who again is his best friend. This one is like the true definition of soulmates. The way that they just understand each other and love each other is so freaking pure. Like I said, Isidro is struggling with his mental health. He's struggling with depression and PTSD, and he's struggling with nightmares. And the way that our other hero supports him and loves him through all of that is so beautifully written. You kind of start a friends with benefits situation because neither of them are really ready to be in a relationship, but obviously real feelings get involved. Could do a whole video on just her books because she has so many friends to lovers romances. Crybaby is another friends to lovers romance that she writes. She has one called Rat Park, and this one oh my god, that is such a good one. I can't believe I forgot about that one. So in this one, our hero Dominic has a very rough childhood. His mother is addicted to drugs, which leads to his own drug addiction, and he spends many years struggling with his addiction. And one day he ends up meeting a police officer, a woman who helps him and invites him into her home, really cares for him, helps him get a job, ends up becoming a part of her family. It's a huge found family trope, and in this book he has a connection with her younger son. It really does start as a friendship because I think there's like a 6, maybe 10-year age gap between them, so it takes a while for the romance to pick up, but it's so good. She does have more books with this trope, but I'm gonna move on. I'm so sorry I went on that little tangent, but I love her. Okay, let's talk about some novellas that have this trope. So one that I really liked is called The Four Leaf by Lee Jackowitz. The author has a bunch of short novellas featuring different holidays. I know she has like a Valentine's Day one, she has a Christmas one, she has a Halloween one. This one is around St. Patrick's Day. So it follows our characters Sam and Adrian. They were childhood best friends because their families actually owned a hotel together, and now this hotel is left to them to run. St. Patrick's Day is a really huge holiday for them because there's like this beer and wine festival going on. Our heroine Sam is running the hotel and Adrian comes to help her. Well, it turns out that both of them have like been mutually pining after each other but never really wanting to ruin their friendship. They decide to go for it and realize they have a lot of chemistry together, okay? And a lot of similar kinks. And this one, there's a primal kink. It's very sexy, very steamy indeed. Another one, this one is like one of my top favorites. That's Hefty by Jessica Cain. Oh my god, I adore this book. This is my favorite Jessica Cain novella. So in this one, our heroine is hopelessly in love with her best friend's older brother. They go to school together. Heroine is a cheerleader and our hero is a football player. And one day after the game, they just decide to go for it. This has a virgin heroine and a virgin hero trope. So they decide to have their first time together and explore that attraction with one another. It's really cute, short, sweet, smutty, everything you could expect from a Jessica Cain novella. Ryder Adams has a couple of friends to lovers romances. One of my favorites is Go Deep. So in this one, our heroine is an erotica writer, but she went through a really bad breakup recently, so her writing is struggling a little bit. She has a little bit of writer's block. She's kind of struggling with the steamy scenes, and she needs some inspiration, some life experience to get it going, you know? So she ends up propositioning our hero, who is her best friend that she's known since they were little, to have like a little friends to benefit situation so she can get some inspiration for her book. And let me tell you, she gets lots of inspiration, okay? It is so sexy. The scene where they're in a restaurant, I don't want to ruin it for you guys, but it's sexy. I love this book. It's also sweet and cute or whatever. I do love Ryder Adams novellas. She does have another one. It's called Surrender. So in this one, okay, how do I describe this one? I don't know if you guys ever had this in high school or if you saw this like in the movies or whatever, where basically like two friends are like, hey, if we're not married with kids by 35, then we're gonna marry each other. This one, our characters go to college together and they have a really big friend group, so they never wanted to ruin their friend group, but right before they graduate, they both end up confessing their feelings for one another. Just really bad timing because they're about to graduate. They're going to move to completely different countries. They have different lives and different jobs, and it just never works out. They end up making a pact that in 7 or 10 years, I can't remember the time frame, that if they're single, they're going to spend 3 days together and kind of just explore the attraction they have with one another. Go on, remain friends, date different people, yada yada yada. And then the 7 years comes up and our hero ends up sending our heroine some plane tickets to fly her to where he's at. Because he's keeping up his end of the bargain. This one has a slight BDSM trope. I love Ryder Adams. Her books are just so sexy and beautiful and wonderful. Another one of my absolute favorites is Truth or Dare by Daniel Allen. In this one, our characters also went to college together and they had a really big friend group, and it was kind of a deal like within the friend group that they were going to be very cautious of trying not to date each other because they never wanted to make it awkward. Our large friend group all stayed friends after college, but they were just friends. So many years later after they graduated, 2 of their mutual friends are now getting married, so they're going to celebrate the wedding, and they end up playing a drunken game of truth or dare where two characters end up getting dared to kiss, and boom, instant chemistry. Okay, they never really like breached outside of the friend zone, but the second they kiss, they're like, whoa, 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 wait. Why haven't we been doing this the whole time? Another one of my all-time favorites is The Heir by Sophie Lark. This is the first book in her Kingmaker series, I believe is what the series is called. This one is the first in a series. It's a Mafia romance series. She has another Mafia romance series, and this one is like a bunch of the kids from those couples. So it follows a bunch of characters that come from Mafia families, and there is like this secret college that is made specifically for people in the Mafia to train them. This one, it follows our characters Leo and Anna, who are both heirs to their Mafia family. So they go to this college together. They've been friends for many years, and they go to this college. It's a little messy, okay? They've been pining after each other for a while. This one also has like a love triangle going on as well. Love Sophie Lark's writing, so this is a good childhood friends lovers romance. But it's messy, okay? Another one of my all-time favorites. I keep saying that, but really it's so true. I just adore this trope, so it's my favorite. This one is Wolf Song by TJ Klune. This is a paranormal male-male romance series. You do have to read it in order, but this is the first book in the series. The book follows our hero Ox, who him and his mom moved to a new town, and he has a really special connection with a family that live in the woods. And then it turns out that family, yeah, they're werewolves, okay? They're a pack of werewolves. So like I said, paranormal romance. He really has a special connection with the youngest brother, Joe, and it turns out that they're fated mates, although he doesn't really know that at first. There is a 6-year age gap between them, so their relationship really does start as a friendship, and then it develops. I just really love TJ Klune's writing. I just think it's sweepingly romantic. This one is another one that has a found family trope. Maybe I need to do a specific video on fan family, because I'm realizing that I really like that. I do. Speaking of my favorite books ever, can we give it up for Again the Magic? Give it up for Again the Magic by Miss Lisa Kleypas. This book right here is the whole reason I even have a BookTube channel, okay? This is my favorite book ever. This book is an angsty second chance historical romance, but it does kind of fall under childhood friends to lovers because our characters grow up together. There is a little bit of a class difference. It follows our heroine Lady Eileen and our hero McKenna. Our heroine comes from nobility. Our hero is a stable boy that works for her family, so her father does not approve of the match whatsoever and does not want them to be together, but they're just so connected. They have such an amazing bond growing up together. Something happens, I don't want to ruin it, but something happens where our hero and our heroine are separated, and our hero is real pissed, okay? So many years later, he comes back from America as a self-made man. He has a little bit of shmoney, and he wants to show our heroine and her family everything they missed. So again, a little bit of an angsty second chance revenge plot, but I'm fitting this in the video because they were friends first, childhood friends first. So I just love this book. It's one of my favorites. I love this book. Another historical that has this trope is A Duke in Disguise by Kat Sebastian. So in this one, our heroine owns a publishing company with her brother. I think it was like her father owned it and she inherited it, and now she is trying to publish like the very first erotica novel. That is where our hero comes in. They all grew up together, like her brother, and our hero, and they were best friends. Hero is an artist, so he ends up helping our heroine create illustrations for the book, and as they're working together closely, okay, they're writing this erotica book. It's very sexy. Chemistry is flying. They end up falling for each other. This one is really fun because it's called A Duke in Disguise because our hero actually has some ties to nobility that he never really knew he had. So a little bit of a mystery plot line there. Sebastian always writes really unique historicals that have amazing representation. Like in this one, I think our heroine is openly bisexual. So I just love her books as a whole. All of the historicals that I've read by her were amazing, but this one does have that childhood friends lovers trope. Okay, I have one more historical for you, and that is A Lady for a Duke by Alexis Hall. So in this one, our characters grew up together and they also fought in the war together and they were best friends. Our heroine is actually trans, and in the war, she was really badly injured. The hero in this book, who is her best friend and her family and everyone, thought that she was dead, and she does not come back. Decides that she's going to take this opportunity to really become who she always knew that she was going to be. She changes her name and she goes through that transition, and because of that, she cannot see her best friend in fear of him knowing who she was. Many years later, our heroine actually has to go to his estate and he does not recognize her at first, and it kind of follows their romance. This one, oh my god, it is so freaking beautiful. Both of our characters have been through so much. Our hero is struggling with PTSD from the war. He's grieving the loss of his best friend. He's struggling with addiction. Our heroine is also in the process of transitioning in a historical time period, which is difficult in itself. So just like the character development and the growth and their journey alone is so beautiful, and then you add the romance on top of that, stunning. I feel like I'm not even doing the book justice by just describing the plot to you, because it's sweepingly romantic and you can only understand that by reading it. I adored the audiobook, so I would recommend the audiobook, and it's such a good one. The next one is another novella. It's called Don't Say I Do by Ivy Whitaker. This is a sapphic romance. One of our heroines in this book has been hopelessly in love with her best friend for many, many years, but her best friend is getting married and she's the maid of honor. Okay, it's the night before the wedding and she's freaking out because she does not have a maid of honor speech. As she's writing, she's like reminiscing on all of the memories that they've had together, and it has like different flashbacks of when they were younger. And as she is trying to finish this maid of honor speech, she realizes how in love, like hopelessly devoted to you. Sorry here. She realizes that she is like in love with her best friend and needs to tell her. Like, she just needs to get it off her chest the night before the wedding. So she goes to tell her best friend, only to realize her best friend felt the same way. But she's supposed to get married. It's very messy, but I loved it. If a book is messy, chances are I'm gonna love it. Another one that I really liked is called Into the Tide by Laura Pavlov. It's a part of one of her small town romance series. This is small town romance, friends to lovers, and also brother's best friend. So our hero Hugh lives in a very small town and he owns some bars and restaurants. And then our heroine Lila went away for college, but now she's back during the summertime to spend time with her family, also make some extra money. So she ends up working at one of Hugh's restaurants, and they just have like a chemistry with one another. Our heroine is creating like this summer bucket list of all this stuff that she wants to do. Hero looks at that bucket list and finds out that she wants to lose her V card. And he's like, well, maybe I can help you out with some of this, okay? It's a really cute one. I love a sexy little list. Next up is Marriage on Madison Avenue by Lauren Lane. This is the third book in her Central Park Pact series. A little bit of a tongue twister there. And this series is really fun. You can read this as a standalone, by the way. I think I actually read this one first. It follows a group of girls who actually know each other because they were dating the same guy. So they end up meeting each other at this guy's funeral and realizing that he had a wife, a girlfriend, and a mistress, okay? He was dating all three girls at the same time and they had no idea. And instead of like turning on each other and getting mad at each other, they really bond over that experience. They create this pact that they're going to help each other find their happily ever afters. I absolutely love the friendship in this series. This book follows Audrey, our heroine, and her best friend Tate. So they have been best friends since they were really young, and this has a marriage of convenience trope. So our hero in this book kind of has like a meddlesome family that is always setting him up on blind dates and really pressuring him to get married. So he kind of asks our heroine to pretend to be his fiance just to like get his family off his back, and our heroine ends up agreeing to it because she is a social media influencer. When her followers end up finding out that she's engaged, they're like really into it. They want to see like the whole process of her shopping for flowers and for dresses, and it becomes this whole thing. So they create a marriage of convenience, and in that they fall for each other. I feel like I could just keep going with these recommendations. There's so many popular ones. Like I know Christina Lauren has one, Love in Other Words, that's childhood friends to lovers romance. Him by Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen, that's a male-male hockey romance. Characters in this book went to hockey camp together. They kind of share a steamy moment, but one of our heroes freaks out because he's not openly gay quite yet. And then many years later, they're both playing professional hockey and end up playing against each other. Love that whole series, actually. I feel like I've been talking forever and ever, so we're gonna end the video here. We're gonna end it here. Let me know your favorite childhood friends to lovers romance down below. And if there are any other tropes that you want me to do for Trope Week, also let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. It means the world to me. I hope you guys are all staying happy and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!